All right, what's going on, YouTube? Been a while. Hope all is well out there. Got a comment on my video with this guy here, my PT 1911, and the Sarco ambidextrous slide stop lever that I put on that thing. It's now fully ambidextrous, and I'm going to do a video on that. Plus, I got some other stuff that I threw on there as well. So I'm going to do a separate video on that, but I just brought it out just kind of for a size comparison today. So the other day, I picked up this guy over here, the Ruger LCP in 380. Well, I guess they're all in 380, really. So the LCP, and I actually haven't shot it yet. Haven't had it at the range, but I have been carrying it, and I really, really like it so far. Like I said, considering I haven't shot it yet, it carries awesome. I forget that I'm wearing it sometimes, and that's kind of what you want for a concealed carry piece. I did add this gun clip, kind of belt clip type deal to it, so you can Mexican carry. I have heard that you're not supposed to keep around in the chamber when you do that, when you use those clips, but I've been doing it. This thing has such a long and heavy double action trigger that I feel pretty safe keeping around in the pipe. And honestly, the slide is I guess tight enough, and it doesn't have the best serrations on there either, that I'd be nervous that I'd be able to rack the slide in a time of stress anyway. So figure if you're going to carry one in the chamber. But when I bought it and brought it home, I realized, man, I actually have a decent little pocket gun collection now. I guess almost by accident, really. And I've always kind of liked the pocket guns. They've always been kind of neat to me. And now I actually have a few of them. And so I figured I'd do a video on them real quick. I'm not going to get into the different specs and the history on each. I'm sure Hickok 45 has a video on just about every one of those, except maybe that the Jennings over there. But I'm not going to get into the specs on them or that sort of thing, but just kind of how I came to acquire them and the story behind each one, at least for me, my personal story with each one. And yeah, so I'll just start off with this guy, again, chronological order from the first one. And this is, and by the way, these guns have all been safety checked off camera. Not going to waste everyone's time safety checking a bunch of guns on camera. We'll be here all day. So this is a Beretta 950 Jetfire. It is in 25 ACP. As you can see, that's clear. And that's the first mouse gun I've ever bought. And the reason it's kind of cool, and as you can see, it's seen better days. The finish on it is, that'll focus. Well, finish on it is brutal. Like I said, certainly seen better days. But I'm planning on refinishing it at some point when I get around to it. I did buy this gun in about 2007 the thing that makes this gun kind of cool is where I bought it from. It's probably 30 years old, I would say, at least. And actually it is single action only. It does have a half cock there and a full cock. Single action, does have the safety right here, so you can carry it kind of cocked and locked there as well, and then you got the mag release there. So again, the story behind this is actually, the cool thing is where I got it from. I got it in Cambridge, Massachusetts, and that's my hometown. And for anyone that's familiar with Cambridge, or really Massachusetts in general, you know that it is not the most gun-friendly state in the world. As a matter of fact, it's probably one of the least gun-friendly states. And Cambridge is sort of the epicenter of that. That's where you've got the Harvard campus and the MIT campus, and it's a bunch of really liberal anti-gun people. And that's exactly where I bought this thing. And actually, as a matter of fact, the store where I purchased it is no longer in business. It was a little store in Porter Square called Roach's Sporting Goods that was there for like 60 years. and it finally just went under maybe a few years back. So that's where this guy came from, and when I bought it, the finish was pretty awful too. Obviously, it had been carried, just kind of thrown in a purse or in a pocket or something like that, and obviously it had a pretty rough life. But it shoots great. It actually shoots just fine. I don't think it's ever had a malfunction, knock on wood, in the time I've had it. Granted, I haven't put all that many rounds through it. It's not the most comfortable pistol to bring to the range. But it has functioned very well. I keep it pretty well oiled, and you know, it's Beretta. It's pretty much Beretta reliable. And like I said, I know the 25 ACP round isn't exactly a man stopper or known as a man stopper or really anything stopper, but it's better than nothing. And the reason I wanted it in 25 ACP at first was that, or I should say wanted a gun in 25 ACP, a pocket gun in 25 ACP that is, at first, is that I like the idea of having a centerfire cartridge with a small enough round to again fit in a pocket. This one I believe is 8 in the magazine, 1 in the chamber, so it's got 9 rounds capacity. And like I said, it's been pretty darn reliable. Nothing pretty to look at. And there's let's see if we can do the sight picture. There's the sight picture. So not much to look at there, but this is for up close and personal work anyway. So anyway, that's my Beretta Jetfire. The next one I bought was this guy right here. This is a Taurus PT-22. Nothing fancy here either. This is in 22 long rifle. Very similar in design to the Beretta, except for the major difference, couple of major differences, of course. It does have the tip-up barrel, like the 950 Jetfire and other, you know, Beretta pocket pistols have. It's got the magazine release up here versus down here for the Beretta. But the big difference, and safety location also the same, the big difference for these two are the fact that the Beretta is single action only, and this is double action only. Also, this is a wide, for a pocket gun, this thing is a wide gun. And actually, let me bring the Beretta back here so we can look and do a quick comparison here on the two. As you can see, sorry, get my hands out of the way. Taurus is certainly wider, significantly wider. I don't know if you can really tell on camera, but it is much wider. It's also much taller. But for a guy about my size, I'm like 6 foot, 200 pounds. Fits in my pocket just fine. The Taurus does. And the reason that I think this has a bit of an interesting story too is, again, where I got it. So I bought it off of a gun broker, and again, I bought it while I was living in Massachusetts. And at the time, this thing was probably good 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, in that range. When I bought it, and actually still to this day, for anyone that's familiar with Massachusetts gun laws, they are just so screwed up. But there's an approved handgun roster in the state of Massachusetts. Taurus is nowhere to be found on that roster, nor will they ever be. So I was able to purchase this gun legally in Massachusetts because it was registered in the state prior to the handgun approved handgun roster, nonsense taking effect. So it was in the state prior to all that stuff happening. So it was essentially grandfathered in. And so I found this thing on Gun Broker, and believe me, I'm not bragging when I say that I paid double what it would have been new to buy it, but I did. I paid about double what it would have cost new. And again, for one of these PT-22s. I think brand new, they're probably $250. So I probably paid like $500 for this guy just to have it in Massachusetts. So again, really, I'm not bragging at paying double for it. I guess I'm just trying to say, how rare this thing was for such a common gun. How rare it was to have it legally in Massachusetts. So that's the Taurus PT-22. Oh man, and now we've got probably the biggest piece of crap with the coolest story though out of the whole lot. This is a Jennings. This is a Jennings J22. And this is I guess it's a striker fired. I guess I'm not even sure if it is striker fired or not. I guess it is. Come on, you gonna focus? There we go. So this is a model J22. It's in 22 long rifles. You can see there on the stamping. It does have a little bit of bubbling, as you can see on the slide towards the end of the barrel there. I believe this is nickel plate or maybe chrome. I'm not really sure. It looks like chrome actually, maybe. But you can see the stamping on it, the markings, Chino, California. There's a guy who has a ton of these Jennings and some of the subsidiary manufacturers that made these little guns. And he's got a big collection of them, and he goes into the different meanings of, the markings and how old they are depending on the markings, that sort of thing. I don't remember. I didn't look at his video before I did this before I did this video, unfortunately. But if I remember, I think this thing is from either the late 70s or the early 80s. I can't remember quite exactly when. But these are kind of interesting because these are, for those of you that aren't familiar with them, these are actually the original Saturday Night Special. So when you hear people talk about, Saturday Night Specials or pimp guns, some people call them, they're talking specifically about Jennings and a few other manufacturers as well. And they were a big problem in the late 70s and early 80s because these things were so abundant. They were dirt cheap to buy. They were incredibly easy to conceal. Throw them in a pocket anywhere, and you could do some dirty work with these things, and basically just throw it away. And they got a really bad reputation as a result of it. And I believe there was some legislation passed, either outlawing these or something like that at one point. So I got them, even though it's a terrible gun, it jams consistently. I've never taken it out to the range and fired it and not had a problem, and regardless of the ammo I've used in it. And it's just a terrible gun. But I got it because I thought it was cool, and the history of it really intrigued me. And it also came with a sibling, believe it or not. These two are consecutive serial numbers. This one is 060382, and its buddy here is 060381. So we got 81 and 82 right here. And they actually came here. I'm going to move these real quick so I can show you all this too. They actually both of them came in the original box too. How cool is that? You got the original covers there. They're actually in pretty decent shape considering, but I don't think there's any dates. I didn't notice any dates on the boxes, or any of the materials, in the boxes there. And they've got the instructions and all that stuff in here too. So pretty cool. And the best part about it is, I paid $150 for the pair. So they were cheap back then, and they are certainly very cheap now. And I think, actually, as a matter of fact, now that I'm saying it, I think serial number 81 here, this one, I don't believe this one's ever been fired. This one's in really, really nice shape. I don't think it's ever been fired. I certainly haven't fired it since I've owned it, and it's in really, really nice, clean shape. This one, on the other hand, not so much. This one's been shot, and it's, like I said, it's got the rust bubbling through. But all the same, a lot of history. Pretty cool, right? I mean, some interesting history there for sure. And I figured for $150, why the heck not, right? So, last but not least, we have the Ruger. And talked about it a little bit already. This is in 380, as they all are. See, it's empty and empty. This one, again, I've only had it for a couple of weeks. I've been carrying it a ton. It does not have the laser on it. I didn't want the extra bulk, and I figured, what the hell? Who uses a laser on these things? Seems like kind of a chick thing to have. But I did get the one with the upgraded trigger. Again, I don't notice really a difference in the pull. It is a long trigger pull, long double action trigger. Pretty smooth though, actually, for a little pocket pistol. The only thing I've done on it so far, and you can see actually, I did get the trigger because of the upgraded sights. And so you can get a pretty nice sight picture there with those. The other one, if you don't get the one that's got the trigger, the sights aren't very good. And like I said, I did throw this on to this gun clip. So really happy with it so far. This is great. And this has been my daily concealed carry for basically every day since I've had it, and it's been very, very comfortable. I'm looking forward to taking it to the range. And yeah, there's a ton of videos on these otherwise, so I won't waste your time. Let's just do a size comparison real quick on just so you guys can get an idea of the size of these mouse or pocket guns as compared to a full size 1911. So this is a big old heavy full size 1911 in 45 ACP. And here is the 380 Ruger LCP. Yeah, not a whole lot there. It'd be like carrying, basically this is like carrying two of these, essentially. So anyway, but that's about it, guys. I'll wrap it up from there. Hope all's well out there. I'll be doing a review on this guy pretty soon, and just kind of, like I said, a 3-year follow-up on it and just how it's been and all the mods and everything. So, all right, talk to everyone soon. Bye.